Okay, so here's a fun video on OptimizePress that I'm actually super excited to do because I'm gonna talk about whether you should learn how to do web coding, learn how to create web code, or just learn OptimizePress 2.0. I did a previous video on why you should use OptimizePress 2.0 over other platforms, other editors, live page editors, and I believe it is overall the best tool on the market. And some people might prefer other ones. Some others look pretty darn cool, but OptimizePress is getting a pretty good name out there. I've seen other people's content, and I'm currently trying to get work on Upwork to do web design with OptimizePress. And there's a lot of people looking for OptimizePress web developers, which is really, really cool. So it's becoming a very, very popular platform. But check it out. There's still something called web coding, okay? This is the traditional way of creating a web page, okay? Super boring, super long learning curve. And frankly, it's just way more difficult to get good at and learn it. Like I said, the learning curve is huge. And when I say web coding, I'm talking about the two main web codes that you would learn. HTML, it stands for, I forgot. I knew what it stood for. Hyperlink, text. Hold on, I'm going to pause this video and look it up. I can't remember what it stands for. Hold on. Okay, I got it right here on my phone. Hypertext, markup language. Okay, that's what HTML stands for. It's funny because hypertext is actually just one word. It's not like hyper space text. So I don't get it why it's like 4 letters as far as the acronym there. But hypertext markup language, woo! Sounds cool, right? HTML. If you don't know what HTML is, it's the basic web code, okay? It's the basic web code to basically tell a web page, a spreadsheet, what you want to show, okay? This is important to understand really what HTML is responsible for. It's what you want to show on a page. It takes care of the what. CSS, Cascade Style Sheets, okay? This is the other language that really transformed what web pages look like, okay? Both of these in tandem take care of 2 important phases of displaying web content. The HTML web code defines what you want to show, and CSS defines what it looks like, okay? You can do some basic editing with HTML where, that affects the style a little bit. I'm not an HTML coder or a CSS coder, for the record. I don't know either. I know a little bit of HTML. I can punch in a little bit. It's the basic stuff. I'm better at just looking at it, editing, because I don't use it much. Sometimes I forget even some of the basic stuff. But I could go through, I could look at an HTML editor or a page, and I could edit a lot of things, a lot of basic stuff pretty easily. I personally don't think HTML would take too long to learn if you use an online resource, like a free website. There's plenty of them out there. Or if you went to like lynda.com or let's say teamtreehouse.com. These are fantastic sites where you can just pay a monthly membership and get all kinds of content, all kinds of training that you can take, video training that you can take whenever you want. You don't have to go to school for this. It's pretty cool. And so yeah, HTML, it's not too difficult. It's still difficult. It would take a long time to really understand it well, right? But then there's CSS, and this is where it gets complicated, okay? I don't know CSS at all. I haven't really dived into it at all, but I know but it's super crucial to learn, and it's on my to-do list. I really want to learn CSS, and I'm going to at some point, so I can take my OptimizePress 2.0 skills to the next level. But the point of this video is to explain that these two languages are the main coding languages to design websites, what the content looks like, right? It's not to decide what the content does. That's JavaScript, okay? These are the three main languages. It's a triangle, okay? HTML takes care of what it looks like. CSS takes care of how it looks. And JavaScript takes care of what it does, okay? What it does. You know, if you want some fancy animation, stuff like that. I'm not talking about just linking to a web page. I'm talking about more complex stuff, but that's for another video someday if I ever talk about JavaScript, which I don't know much about. But anyways, so these two languages, you know, it's funny, they're languages, and they're probably more crucial to learn than any other secondary foreign language that you can learn. Because, you know what, you can make a lot of money with learning these languages, but it takes a long time to learn them. It's really complicated. You know, it's a bunch of numbers, a lot of symbols, and the reason why you should just ignore that stuff for now, if you want to do web design or your own web design, is because there are live editors that take care of this stuff for you. And the key with these live editors like OptimizePress 2.0 is that it has additional functionality. It has so many other functions, things that you can do with the editor that you can't do just by coding a page all by yourself. You got to learn all these different languages if you want to code it all. You know, integrating payment processing, email autoresponders. I mean, to learn all the codes that you would need to learn to do all of those functions, have all those functions on your website and manually code it, it would take months and years for you to learn this stuff in your spare time. You know what I mean? Like, who's got the time for that? With OptimizePress, you get it all in an editor. It's all glued together. It's all super easy to use. It's great. It's just awesome. This is the difference between coding and using an editor, okay? It's huge. It's the learning curve and the functionality benefits that you get from using OptimizePress 2.0, a live editor. Okay, huge. Yes, there are limitations with the live editor in terms of design. Okay, you can't go to the extremes that you can go with when it comes to web coding, with CSS specifically. CSS is the big one. Like, if you really want to know your shit and be an incredible web designer, you got to learn CSS. It'll only help you with OptimizePress, because there's so many cool things you could do with your pages if you knew CSS. One day I'm going to learn it. At some point, I'll take some time every single day to learn bit by bit of CSS, but it's really not necessary. You can work around it pretty easily. You can create amazing things without it. You know, if you know Photoshop, that's another big one too. But that's for another video. You know, I'm going to talk about both of those. How you can take your skills to the next level with learning CSS and Photoshop. But yeah, I highly recommend learning a tool like OptimizePress over learning how to web code, because web coding can only get you so far in terms of what you need to accomplish. Yes, you can learn. You can take web design to a whole another level, but you don't need to. If you want to sell, if you want to sell shit online, you got to focus on the big picture. You got to focus on all of the things. You know, all of the things that are required to sell online. It's marketing. Okay, focus on the marketing and not so much the web design. You know, not so much mastering web design. Okay, you don't need to. You can create something great. You can use my e-course to guide you on how to create something great with OptimizePress. But once it's done, it's done. You know, you can keep creating new products, but you don't need to become a master web designer. If you want to and get paid to do it, work for people, then do it. But I recommend OptimizePress because you can you get all of the functionality benefits. That's the difference. The functionality, that's more important. Because if you want to sell something online, you are an internet marketer. As scammy as that sounds, that's kind of the title. I like online entrepreneur better. I like that a lot better. That's what I go with. Online entrepreneur. Sounds so much better, doesn't it? Sounds badass, right? I sell shit online. I make money online, and I have marketing skills, online marketing skills. That sounds better. Peace out, Tiger.